Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This video is not something that we thought we'd be making at this point in time, but we're making it nonetheless. And as you can tell from the title, we're selling our house.
We are. I think you all know this was coming. We've sort of hinted at the fact we were looking at properties, but I think truth be told, we just didn't expect to be making it now. I think I said in a previous video, it wouldn't be this side of the year, it would be some point next year. Yeah, here we are. And the reality is, the offer that we placed on a property has been accepted. After a lot of negotiation, very stressful week of going back and forth and with a calculator in hand. But yeah, our offer has been accepted, and that means that we have to put this house on sale.
Yes, obviously we can't share that house at the moment because if you know anything about the house buying process in the UK, nothing is concrete until it is concrete. So
we're actually waking up every day saying, oh, if we get this house.
Yeah.
So even though it's being sold and our offer has been approved, we're still acting like it's a low chance that we'll actually get it.
Yeah.
We are very much pessimists. And it's not over the line until it's over the line. So we're taking nothing for granted, but as annoying as it may be for the hundreds of people that followed me trying to find out, we do have to keep our cards close to our chest for obvious reasons. But I promise that if it does get over the line, you'll be the first to know.
Yeah.
Well, second to know.
Second to know, well, third to know.
Probably fifth to know.
But yeah, just to give you some context, it's very, very much real. Our offer has been accepted, our finances are in order. Our house is going up for sale next week. So we are getting our photos taken on Tuesday. The house is obviously being modified in every single way that we can to make it perfect, or as perfect as possible. So it's all happening very, very quickly, and we are both excited and very nervous. So
yeah, it's crazy how fast we are moving.
Yeah.
I mean, offers accepted, our lawyers are there, our surveyors are there. We've then got the estate agent all signed off for this house. The lawyer's taking care of both properties. The photography is happening next week. The house is then going straight on the market. There'll be open days. The agent estimates 1 to 2 weeks the house will be gone, just based on the demand. So it's frightening. And I think for us, it's on one hand, it's exciting, but I think it's only actually just hit us that it's going to be very hard to sell this house. And I'm not saying that in a cheesy or fake way, but I think before we were just thinking, oh, we need to sell our house and get another one. But it didn't really cross our mind that we've been here 4 years. This is not only just our first house, this is a house that we have put blood, sweat, tears, and a lot of money into to restore and make it such a cozy home. It's a home that millions of people around the world have seen, which is pretty insane to think. It's a house that's won awards and has been on newspapers. And we kind of said to ourselves how weird it will be when we close that door and we'll never be allowed back in.
yeah.
And that's when it really hit me, and I was like, oh God, like there will come a point we have to close that door, give the key to an agent, and then never be able to walk into this property again. And I don't know, that's becoming more difficult for me to accept. Which is, pretty insane. I don't know if you feel that way.
I do, and also this house is like starting my career. There's just a lot to it that I don't think we'll fully appreciate until the time comes where we have to hand the keys back. So I don't know.
And I also don't know if we'll ever be able to achieve in our new home what we've achieved here. And I know that sounds weird, but here we had such a blank canvas and everything's just perfect. I know that sounds weird, but when you stand outside of our house, it just looks like the most inviting little cottage house that you'd walk into with the wisteria and the bricks and the doors and the windows. And then that doesn't stop. As you enter, we've purposely designed it so that every room should hit you. Nothing should ever just look bland or normal. And I don't know if we'll be able to achieve that again. I feel like this house will be quite unique.
It is very unique. Every time we look at the house, we always think it looks happy. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but quite a few people have messaged me recently saying the house just looks happy and cozy and warm. And I just think that sort of embodies what this house is.
A lot of our neighbours often take pictures and message us on WhatsApp groups, basically saying when at night time when all the lamps are on and it's wet outside, and they're sort of sending us pictures being like, can I come in for a coffee? It's nice. So yeah, I feel like I'm ranting on and trying to sell it. We don't need to sell it, as arrogant as that sounds. You guys love the house already. It's why you're here. And someone else will too. But truth be told, what we thought would be good for this video is just to give you a little bit more insight and information on the area in which we live and a bit more specifics on the house. I think, you know, we are going through a very reputable estate agent, the one that we bought the property from, and they will be sending lots of people into our house. But, you know, sometimes you can sell homes privately, and there's people on here who might want to put an offer in our house or buy it, and you just never know. So we thought, why not just give people a little bit more information?
Yeah.
And you never know.
You guys are getting the exclusive, so before anyone else knows, you guys are seeing this.
Yeah.
So I think what we'll do is talk through the house and sort of give you like a little house tour of all the things that we've done to this house, and including the area. Obviously not specifics because we still live here.
I think we'll start with the area.
Yeah.
Because I think that's quite new information for people. Now, we're not going to be very specific and say where in the area it is. I think many of you know this home is in East London. But why did we choose this area? Now, one of the reasons we chose it was we did extensive research. Now, you can go to parts of London that are already very lovely and they've been lovely for many, many years, and you'll pay an absolute premium to live there. And the return you'll get on the property will probably be minimal because it's already very, you know, whatever word you want to use, gentrified, up and coming. And we wanted to pick an area that was in that up and coming stage, not only so that we could be sort of part of an area that's building, but at the same time, we knew the property we'd get a much better bargain and that we'd make much higher margins when it does come to sell. So the area we live in is dubbed mini Hackney, is what everyone's calling it. So what's basically happened, Hackney's a very like artsy, expensive part of East London, most of it anyway. And people who had flats there and made a lot of money on flats are then sold and bought houses here. And they've all followed each other. It's quite weird. Most of our neighbours on our street and the other streets all knew each other from their previous area.
Bizarre, yeah.
And they've all come here. One is because this area has an abundance of period homes. There's just hundreds and hundreds of beautiful Victorian terraced housing in really nice tree-ridden streets. So it's very leafy around here. Most of the roads are low traffic zones, so it's very good for families and quietness. It's also got one of the best air pollution levels in London. We're very lucky that just around the corner from us is miles and miles of forestry and marshland. So literally within walking distance from the house, you're just in an abundance of forests and fields, which is great for kids and dog walking and the rest of it.
Yeah, and most importantly, the reason why all those people have moved over from Hackney, not all of them, but we have two really good schools on a couple of the streets over. And when we tell you that those houses are in high demand, they go up in a weekend and they sell within a day. So
we were talking to the agent and we were saying, because weirdly there was a part in this area where loads of houses were selling, they were all bought, and now it's slowed down. There's not enough people selling. There's a lot of people trying to buy here, especially because they want to get their kids in the schools here. They're literally trying to buy on the street opposite, because I think the catchment's quite strict.
It's very strict. Yeah.
But the agent was just saying, like, don't even worry about it. 1-2 weeks at the most, your house will be gone. There's the list of people we have inquiring versus what we have selling is just insane. So we're very fortunate position. We chose this area very tactically. It was good for us, but it was also good for our investment. I mean, many of you know that when we bought this house, we paid 560,000 for it. That's how much you sort of paid for not a derelict home, but
like a rundown, empty,
a home that needs a lot of work done to it to bring it to life. You've seen the befores and after. Now that's around 700,000 just to get the crap ones. And I can be honest with you and say that our house, even though it's a 2-bedroom, is going up for offers over 800. So again, for anyone who is interested in buying it, I thought you might as well know what it's going up for. I should say, for anyone who will be interested in potentially this home, we will be putting an email address in the description below. So you can go to the description below. There'll be an email address there which will come to us. And as long as people are happy to prove their source of funds, we'll be happy to take any sort of serious offers or people that are serious about viewing it in that sense. But yeah, I think that covers the area. I think the last thing I'd mention about the area, actually, beyond the kind of lovely things we've said already, one is just what's opening around us. We've had an abundance of really nice little independent coffee shops and sandwich bars. We have a rail bridge a few streets away with some arches underneath, and within there's like yoga studios,
bakeries,
brewery.
there's like kid playgrounds.
Yeah,
There's lots
there's
of
a
stuff.
wine bar,
Yeah.
there's a brewery, so even that sort of makeup of restaurants, food and drink is getting really good around
And
here.
we also have 2 pubs within like 5 seconds of each other that have the best Sunday lunches in apparently East London.
I disagree with that. I don't think any London pub does a good Sunday lunch.
Yeah.
But I'm from the north. But yeah, lots of pubs as well. But look, we're not trying to hard sell it. People
No.
will see for themselves. But it's just, yeah, it's such a lovely place to live, especially I think if you're planning on having kids or you have kids at the minute and you want that sort of family friendly, sort of leafy suburbia part of London.
Yeah, and also transport links. Sorry, I know that's a hard sell as well, but we're very, very well connected.
Yeah.
London is very notorious for if you're sort of in a certain area,
Yeah.
there might not be many transport links, but we have Elizabeth Line, Central Line, we have
Overground.
Jubilee Line, Overground. We have everything you need to get anywhere.
I think one of the things that's also really encouraging about this area is just the number of properties that have been renovated and look very similar to ours, right? You might sometimes think, oh, you only see our house, you don't see around us, but you know, on all the streets around us, people are restoring their bricks, they're putting in beautiful doors, they're decorating for the seasons, and it's so encouraging to see. We were kind of one of the first maybe to do it, and then since then 20, 30, and every week there's scaffolding going up somewhere or doors being put in here. So I think that's the other thing is that there'll just be this culture of sort of stunning renovated houses up and down the street.
And as we walk around, we say to each other, oh, have you noticed that door that's been put in? Have you noticed the windows? Because people, honestly, people move so quickly in the area. They really, really want to renovate their houses to a really high standard. But it's really lovely to see. It's what we like to do. It's what we like to see. So what we thought we'd do is obviously we've touched on the area. So we are going to talk through the house. Obviously, we've seen the befores and afters of this house quite a few times on this channel, but if you're new here, this will be the first time you're seeing it, and I think it's quite important to see the house if you're interested in buying it. So when we bought this house, it looked very, very different. It was a grey box, it had no character, all of the windows were sort of completely bust. There was nothing at the front of this house that sort of made it stand out in the street, and it just did not look or feel like a Victorian house. So we really wanted to add back as much character, sort of traditionalism as possible. We wanted to change the windows, the doors, and basically change the whole facade of this house because the front of this house was really important to us. Curb appeal does really matter.
I wish more people did take more pride in curb appeal in the front of their homes. It's something we take incredibly seriously because I think you really do fall in love with the home the minute you see it from the outside. And we've spared zero expense. I mean, you can see yourself, we've added in the traditional brick wall outside. We made sure that that brick wall was customary to the stones that these houses are made from, which is London stone.
London stock brick.
London stock brick.
And they have pier caps as well. So those pier caps are in a similar colour. They look very sort of in keeping with the property.
Yeah, the pier caps, so the stonework on top of the wall, they were made in a local factory about 5-10 miles away. But it really just does stand out. I haven't really seen a wall like it. We went quite OTT with the wall.
Yeah, but then we've completely sort of transformed the front garden. There was no original front garden there, so we took up all the concrete slabs. We've then put in sort of soil. We've added hydrangeas that we've changed recently, some limelight hydrangeas, quite mature ones. We've added a Victorian tiled path, a traditional style Victorian tiled path.
So that's a mosaic path as well. So those are individual hand laid. A lot of people get the sheets, which are fine, but they look a bit cheap. These are just the individual hand placed ones. In terms of the hydrangeas, they are Annabelles or
limelights.
They're limelights, so they grow to about 30 centimeters and they're bright white. And our hydrangeas just sort of pour over the wall in the spring and the summer. So it really does bring the garden to life. In terms of the windows on the outsides, we've put in wooden sash windows, so they're not plastic or PVC. They're from our friends at Beach Hall Joinery. They're handmade in London, and that just really changed the game. I think, you know, we did have plastic windows in before, and while they were okay, it just everything else was done properly except that. And ever since we switched them out, it made such a difference.
Yeah, and obviously the front door as well. So our front door is probably one of my favourite things about the front of our house.
I think it's my favourite.
Yeah, it's again a Beach Hall door, solid wood, Accoya timber, painted in Farnball railings. And it's got some reeded glass inserts. It looks really, really modern, but it looks quite traditional at the same time. And I think it's a real nice blend. And I just think it finishes off the front of the house. I think it absolutely stunning.
And the brassware is lovely. We've also added the Banham locks for security. Best in the business. Even beside that, you know, we've also put in a mature wisteria. I mean, everyone loves a wisteria cladded home. It's still got many years to go, but you can already see it's a good mature side. It flowered. We had 37 flowers, if I remember.
Look back on that, see if you're right.
in spring, and I'm sure we have an image we can show you. over the screen as to what that looks like. But that wisteria just really adds something. And then of course we have the David Austin climbing roses that are going up. They'll be a white, so they'll really blend in with the wisteria. But yeah, I mean, the front, obviously we restored all the bricks. We had a really horrible pebble dash on the front. We smashed all that off. We shaved down all the bricks, repointed with a stunning lime render. And that made the world of difference. So yeah, there's just, as soon as you step in the front of that home, I mean, I shouldn't say this because it sounds a bit creepy, but we do have like a Google doorbell. And it obviously, if people stop outside our home for a certain amount of time, it does start recording for security purposes. And the amount of people that just stop and like see our home, and we can see that, and it's lovely. There's always people stopping. One thing that was very important is that quality of design that you see in the front. We want to make sure that's continuous throughout the home, and that starts with even the hallway as you walk in, where we've sort of spared no expanse and ensuring that when you open it, it is traditional and it looks the way it should. As you know, when we bought this house, they'd ripped out everything. It was literally just cheap laminate flooring, white plastered walls, nothing else. It was bleak. But Ash worked his magic, and maybe start with the floor.
There are so many things to talk about, but yeah, on the floor originally was a laminate type of wood. So as soon as we came in, we ripped it all up. We then decided to pop down a dark oak parquet from a company called Broadleaf Timber. It's a really lovely solid wood. There's no MDF, no engineered wood there. It's solid oak. This goes all the way throughout the house, so it starts in the hallway and works its way through the dining room into the kitchen. We thought that was a really important thing to add some character.
Do you know what I love as well? When you open our door, we've done it in a herringbone style, so there's a border on the edge and then herringbone, and it shines because there's a lot of natural light gets through because the front of our house is south facing. You see the shine of the herringbone run all the way through the house, and that wasn't intentional, at least not from our side anyway.
No, the light catches the grain in a really lovely way, and it sort of illuminates the arrows, and it just looks really, really high quality and really lovely. And then as soon as we had the flooring put down, we decided that we wanted to add more character into the space. Obviously, it's a very small space. It had white walls originally, so we wanted to add some like texture to the walls. So we added paneling. This goes all the way through the downstairs hallway, up the stairs, into the upstairs landing. And again, this just sort of feels really traditional. It probably wasn't here originally because it's not a Victorian style paneling, but I think it really finishes off the staircase and sort of makes a statement of it.
Yeah, and we had a carpenter hand make all of this, so it wasn't like we bought like pre-made paneling or something like that. Everything from the dado rail to the squares below was all thought out. And even the skirting boards as well. We always knew in Victorian homes skirting boards are quite high, so I think we got 7 or 8 inch skirting boards, again, which were wood. And put them at the bottom. So you really see the quality of the woodwork. Some paneling can look very cheap because people just sort of stick some bits on a wall, but we've put the backboard on, we put the paneling inserted within the paneling, and then the dado connected and the skirts on the bottom. So it looks really thick and sturdy. It will last 100 years or longer. And as Ash said, it really flows hallway up the stairs and into the hallway upstairs as well. But then beyond the paneling, even some small details, maybe mention like
the corbels. Yeah, I was going to say the corbels we added in. So they're the sort of decorative objects on the top of the wall and the ceiling. There would have been a corbels there originally, but they were ripped out at some point from a previous owner. So we wanted, again, to add back in the character. We were quite lucky that downstairs we have the cornice still. So the cornice is still in the downstairs dining room and lounge. But we knew we wanted to add those corbels back in.
And then I guess that takes us to the stairs.
So again, with the stairs, we wanted to add back as much character, as much traditionalism as possible. So these stairs originally were covered in white paint. They had sort of Velcro steps on them, and there was a wall separating the staircase from the dining room.
Yeah, they'd smashed out all the original spindles and handrail and just put a partition wall. It was horrid.
Dire, yeah. So obviously we wanted to take down that wall, which we did, and then we added back in the spindles and we added the handrail in. We then stained the steps in a dark mahogany colour, and we painted the rest of the staircase. So again, it feels sort of continuous from when you come in, and it just looks traditional with the dark wood stain that matches the floor.
And just little traditional things as well. So in addition to the stain and the spindles, if you look beyond the handrail, we added these beautiful little acorn woodworks for the handles. What do you call it, handles?
Mule posts.
Mule posts, which were separate, but just all those little details matter. Where instead of just putting a circular piece of timber in, we wanted something more decorative. Acorn was quite a traditional piece of woodwork that was used back then. So all those little details as well. The spindles are quite detailed in terms of the wood and the style there as well. And yeah, we didn't want to put a runner up the stairs. We liked the idea of having just a really nice walnut step, which really goes beautifully with the off-white. They really sort of complement each other. So
Yeah.
the stairs wasn't mission impossible. It was just a good carpenter who came in, but from what was there before, just beautifully restored.
Yeah, and it really opened up the space, let so much more light in, which is what we wanted for this dining room and the lounge. So if we come on through from the hallway into the dining room, again, this room originally, I could put an overlay on now, was a big white box.
Yeah.
All the character, bar the corners, had been ripped out. We would have had original fireplaces in both rooms.
Yeah.
They were nowhere to be seen. The flooring, again, was laminate flooring. The floorboards below the laminate flooring was heavily damaged. We had to replace quite a few of those. So everything you can see now, there's lots of layers beneath it before you even get to the decoration, which you guys don't really see. These rooms, we can speed up a little bit. It's the same thing. So dark oak parquet flooring. We've added back in the fireplaces. These aren't working fireplaces. They're symmetrical, so they sort of add the character back in both rooms really nicely. The ceiling roses we've added back in. We chose really decorative floral ceiling roses. They're quite large. They fit the room. The scale is really lovely proportionally. We added chandeliers in. I think they're not going to be here though. We're going to take those with us.
The big, yeah, we're going to leave the smaller ones, but in terms of the big ones, they're very expensive and very hard to find, so they will be
coming with us.
But I think that room was just a bit of a continuation. Yeah. So it was about just restoring the basics, putting the cornice in the ceiling, putting the skirting boards in, adding in a nice traditional wooden fireplace, mantelpiece. Of course, we did a lot of things like insulation and stuff. So we insulated under the floors. We replaced all the radiators in the house. We put a brand new boiler in. Every door and window is brand new. So in terms of making the home really energy efficient and insulated, we ticked all those boxes too. Not everything is just decoration.
Yeah.
But yeah, that room is just sort of perfect now. It's got the really nice two gaps in between the fireplaces where we have the lovely Georgian chest of drawers with the big Chinese lamp on top. And at the same time, you know, a lovely dining room and a rug in there, and you've just got a really warm room for your family meals. I think one thing that was important as well as we get to the lounge was it was all open plan. They had made the dining room and the lounge all open, which I never like. I just don't think these houses are meant to be that way.
No.
But I also don't think they should be closed in completely and then separated by doors. So what we did is we built a partition arch separating the lounge and the dining room, so they're still connected and relatively open plan, but it really does give that sense of privacy and separation of the two rooms.
Yeah, so yeah, it sort of creates the zones within the space. It's still open plan to a degree, but it feels more cozy, which is again what we really wanted for this living room / lounge. I know we shouldn't say lounge, but this living room, again,
it's my favorite room.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite rooms. I don't even know where to start with this room. It's pretty much the same sort of bones as the dining room, but then we've added in these custom-made bookcases that we used our carpenter for. We really wanted to create the sort of shaker style traditional, I know I've said traditional like a million times on this, but we wanted to create the shaker style cabinets either side. They have spaces sort of below for lamps or like nice floral arrangements, and then at the top we have spaces for books, or if you have more of a modern taste, I guess we have a very old-fashioned taste, you could style them with decorative objects, you can put more lamps in them, there's lots of things you can reconfigure them in any way you want to, really.
And I think these are great. Not only are they bespoke and handmade, so they're not like IKEA or anything like that.
No.
They're not only amazing in terms of design, but they've got storage as well. So it just adds more storage room. There's two large cupboards at the bottom of both, where you can put a lot of stuff in. But it really did just make this room feel very snug, sort of library-esque. And it made all the difference, because when it was blank before, it just felt maybe a little bit cold and empty.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think you can see the colour of this room. The idea of this room was to create the cozy sort of snug feel. So we chose a really dark green-brown colour. It's called Cardamom, again by Farrow & Ball. It's a really dark, deep colour that sort of encapsulates the room, makes it feel really, really nice and cozy.
Yeah, and obviously one thing we always do as well is we colour drench. We're not a fan of like colour on wall and then white on ceiling. I do believe colour should be continuous, and we wanted the room to feel very cosy and snug, and the colour drenching really achieved that as well.
Definitely.
So that colour is on the ceiling, it's on the ceiling roses, the cornice, it's sort of head to toe. But of course we've maintained that creamy off-white on the woodwork, so when you look at the skirting boards, the bookcases, the mantelpiece, it just balances out pretty nicely.
Yeah. And again, this room is a really, you can probably tell by this video, but it's a really lovely bright room. So we think the dark colour sort of balances out. You get all the sunlight. It's a south facing front room, so we have the shutters that sort of filter the light, but again you still get the lovely streams of light coming through. So this room is a really lovely room to spend all your time in. We spend pretty much all of our time in here.
All of our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that pretty much covers the lounge, and obviously as we're speaking, we're showing you what the lounge looks like, so
Yeah.
you get that nice sort of 360 view. But yeah, again, it's just you move into that very cozy traditional dining room, and then that snug lounge where I think the only modern thing we've done in this room, and this was something intentional, was the television. So we didn't want to have a TV on the bookcase. I see people put them on the sides and stuff, and it doesn't look right. So we actually built a media wall above the fireplace. So basically we put an insert, there's some electricals behind there, and the TV just perfectly slots in with the wall. It's sort of plumbed to the wall. Now, you could argue that's the modern element, but it's perfect for watching TV, and a lounge should be. If you are someone like us, we watch a lot of TV, we like to have that. But I think something we'd maybe consider doing if we were staying longer is putting some like framework around the TV, so it maybe looks more like a picture than a television. Or Ash, you had an idea for like a little like slidey drawer.
There's so many things you could do. You could put like a tapestry above there. You could sort of like, put a mechanism that sort of lifts the tapestry. You could do doors. We just haven't really finished it. But again, it's one of those things that someone else can do. You can add your touch to this room however you like to. I would assume people are going to paint this room whatever colours what they prefer. But
don't change anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the lounge, that's the dining room, that's the hallway, that's the front of the house, and then it leads to what I would say is everyone's favorite room, and it's certainly, in terms of Ash's viral videos, it's all centered is the kitchen.
I think the kitchen is definitely the heart of the house.
We are obsessed with our kitchen.
I just think it's one of the most beautiful kitchens, and we've completely transformed it from what it originally looked like to what we put in after to then what it looks like now. So again, this room, we completely ripped everything out of this room. It was in really, really, really bad quality. There was mold under the floorboards, there was leaky taps, leaky pipes. We completely gutted it. We damp-proofed all of this. We replastered, we've added new electrics. Obviously a new kitchen went in. It's very heavily Devol inspired, so we decided to paint this kitchen red. We added Devol tiles on the stretch of the kitchen where the cooker is. We added a brass rail. We've added all of our copper pans, our brass pans. So this room really feels like a working kitchen. It feels like a traditional Victorian kitchen. You'd see an old maid sort of over the stove, stirring her little pots, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
And it feels really, really Devol without the Devol price tag.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't really spare any expense for the kitchen. I mean,
No.
That is an expensive. It's not £100,000 Devol kitchen, but it cost us a considerable
fair
amount.
penny, yeah.
So everything is obviously built in, so you don't see any appliances. There's no fridge, washing machine, dishwasher. It's all beautifully built in within the woodwork. Ash was in two minds about this, but I always wanted wooden surface tops. A lot of people go for like quartz, or again, some marbles can be stunning, but I just felt that wood would really work given the floor was wooden. It would look a little bit more, I don't want to say farmhouse, but a little bit more traditional, because marble kitchens were not very traditional back in Victorian times, unless you lived in a stately home and imported it from Italy. People, wooden surfaces were quite the norm. So yeah, the other thing that was important was that the kitchen would look very lived in. For me, there's nothing worse than a kitchen that's always just immaculate and there's no furnishings and it's just it just feels cold
clinical,
to me.
yeah.
So we wanted all of the traditional pots and pans and everything sort of hanging on the brass rail. Everything has a purpose and a function, and we wanted it to look very lived in, and I think we achieved that.
Yeah.
So I think that red colour is just stunning and striking. It complements the brass hardware across the kitchen so well. And then since we've added in the Devol curtain rails and pot rails and etc., it's just really all connected.
Yeah. I should mention the colour on the wall. I'm doing all, so I might as well keep going. But the colour on the cabinets is Preference Red by Farmhouse, and then the colour is Mochi by Little Green.
On the wall.
On the walls, yes. Again, we've added a new back door in, so this is another beech-all door. It's a really beautiful French-inspired door, I'd say.
It's French,
yeah.
It also has stunning aged brass hardware.
Yeah.
It's double glazed. It's a Koya wood. It's the real deal. Again, handmade at their factory in London. The window equally, it's not a sash window in the kitchen because it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
It is a casement window, but it is double glazed and it's security tight. We put in the double Belfast sink.
Yeah.
I don't like a single sink. It just feels very like claustrophobic and you can't fit in much. So we put in the double, and I'm so glad we did, because we cook a lot. We have a lot of dishes. We have a dishwasher, so we definitely never hand wash.
No.
But it's good for storage.
This kitchen is actually a really decent size. It's got the possibility of extending on the side. So if a family does move in and they feel that they need more space, you can always have the option to extend on it. It's probably what, 1 meter by 4 meters.
Yeah.
So there's a significant amount of space there, but for us, it works really, really well.
And to be honest, if we were staying in this house, we would do the side return. It would just make it really open plan as a kitchen space. It would really connect the dining room to the kitchen much more smoothly, and it would allow us to do what we always wanted to do, which would put a nice butcher's block island in the middle of the kitchen. So,
but these are the things that in a couple of years' time we'll love to know if someone's done it to this house, because it would be the things that we would do.
But what's crazy is you don't need to. That's the weird thing. Like, a lot of times you go into Victorian houses and the kitchens are tiny. It's such a spacious kitchen, not only length, but in terms of width. And weirdly, whenever we host, when we have friends around or family around, we always think people want to gather in the lounge or the dining room. Everyone just flocks to the kitchen.
Always the kitchen.
Just because it's, I don't know why.
It's just cozy. It's where everyone wants to be. It's where you interact with each other.
You fit comfortably. I mean, you could fit like 15 people in there without an issue. But yeah, so the kitchen is, you know, the prize jewel of the home. And I think that's the room I'll miss the most, I think.
Definitely.
I thought the lounge, but I take it back. It's the kitchen.
You can say that for every room.
But anyway, you go out the lovely French door, and of course that leads to our favourite outdoor space. And I know many of your favourite space, which is the back garden.
Yeah. Now, this garden, I would say it's very unique in the sense that most gardens aren't really landscaped to this degree. Obviously, we did it ourselves, so it's not a professional gardener that's done this, but I'd like to say it's a really lovely garden. Yeah. We have really, really high quality limestone cobbles on the floor from a company called Cornerstone. They stretch all the way from the back door to the back of the garden in a really beautiful Italianate sort of formal garden style. There's a path that leads around a sort of circle that leads onto the back of the garden, so there's lots of spaces for sitting down whilst sort of entertaining if you have nice sort of chairs out there. But then there's also the mixture of hard landscaping and sort of plants, which is probably the most important thing for us. We really wanted a green garden.
Yeah, I think we really tried to nail a few things here. We wanted a courtyard feel, so we really wanted you to feel like when you leave your kitchen, you get to sort of walk down your garden and navigate to get to the seating area at the back. And we made a little patio area that can comfortably fit chairs and table, sunbeds, whatever you want. It's where we host people. But along the way, you enter the circle, and as you know, we had the pot in the center. But one thing I think is stunning is just the choices of plants we've done. Everything is now very mature, and this person is going to inherit an amazing blooming garden in the summer that isn't little plants. Everything's really fully matured now. We have giant Annabelle hydrangeas in the back garden. We have very mature David Austin roses that flower all summer long. We have a hedge of lavender on the border of the garden that follows all the way through. They are now fairly chunky
decent size, very mature,
we have foxgloves. We have jasmine growing all up the wall on the back. We have wisteria. We put holly trees at the back, which not only provides a bit of privacy, but is great for the birds and is an evergreen tree. So this will also, I mean, you've seen the videos before. Many of you will know our garden. Obviously, we're putting videos on top of our talking now so you can visualize it better. But yeah, there's just something incredible about cooking in that kitchen in summer with the door open and then just bringing stuff out to people as they're lounging at the back.
Yeah,
I think we've really, really nailed that experience of kitchen to
dining ratio. Definitely. This garden in the summer is where we spend all of our time. It gets so much light up until the end of the day. At the back of the garden where the seating area is, it's a really beautiful sun-drenched space. Yeah. And we just, I think we're really going to miss it. I'm going to miss it a lot.
The new place, I'd say the garden's about half the size.
It's wider but shorter.
More of a courtyard, whereas this is a garden.
Yeah.
Now, this garden won't be for everyone because it is a very formal garden. And it has been styled in a courtyard sense. And it may be that if a young family buy this house, they might want to create a bit more space for kids and less for flowers and plants. So that will break our heart, but it's very understandable.
Yeah, definitely.
And at the end of the day, it's their house, so they'll be able to do what they want. But all I'll say is, you know, a lot of the times when you buy a house in London, you're not buying a turnkey experience. You're buying a house that's okay and you're going to have to renovate over years. You won't have to touch this house unless you want to.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a bit of a sigh of relief
for a lot of people. Yeah. As you come back inside, head on up the stairs. This is probably the most boring area. We have an upstairs landing. This originally, again, had nothing to it. It was just white walls, no sort of interest. So again, we've continued the paneling up here. We then added sisal carpet. We've then added ceiling roses up here. We have a really lovely chandelier up there. We've put all of our sort of gilt gold frame artwork up there.
Yeah.
We've changed all of the doors up there to traditional style doors.
All of the light switches, what were the ones we updated to?
Bakelite, or they were...
Yeah, the little circular old
probably
ones.
seen it in the
Forget their
background.
name, but every bit of detail up there was done. Very
Yeah.
similar to the hallway downstairs. We brought that same level of quality up there. Again, we've now decorated it with like a lovely Georgian console table. There's a
Yeah.
bouquet on there. We've put lots of picture frames. One of my favorite things that I hope someone would continue is the wall of pictures going up the stairs. It's always been a very popular point of the house, but that wall is just perfectly designed to be a picture wall going all the way up with like mixed match shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that hallway is pretty much just a continuation. And then obviously the first room you enter as you go upstairs is the bathroom.
As Chad mentioned, as soon as you come up the stairs, you're then greeted by our bathroom. Now, this is a really decent sized bathroom for a house. It used to be a bedroom. We've converted the whole thing into a bathroom. It's got sort of a cave-like shower. It has a separate shower and toilet. We then added our own sort of antique vanity. This is a traditional... Oh, you forgot about that, didn't you?
I did forget that. And we're not taking that.
No.
Some people do take their vanity units because they're very expensive to make and get someone to do. We are leaving this one, so whoever purchases this one will get to keep that vanity unit.
It looks really, it just fits the space really well. But we transformed this sort of antique chest of drawers that has a marble top into a basin. We inset a basin into it. We added some Burlington taps. We added paneling all on the walls. We then popped the bathtub underneath the window that looks out into the garden, so you can get a nice view of the garden as you're taking a bath.
I'm one of those weird people that when I take a bath, I don't take many baths, only usually in winter. But if I do have one, I love to open the window so you're in a warm bath, but that ice cold air just pours in. So that's why we positioned the bath there. Yeah.
It's got a black and white marble, like diagonal pattern on the floor. These are solid marble tiles. So again, really lovely high quality tiles. And this bathroom again is just quite our style, I guess.
I think it's just our style. I think we've always said maybe if we're staying here long term, we'd mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I think one thing we'd maybe do, again, most people who come to our house love the fact there's a little toilet room and there's a little nice wet room that you can walk into. We thought maybe to brighten that room up a bit, we'd open it up, make it more open plan. Maybe we'd end up swapping out marble tiles on the floor for traditional floorboards. But yeah, there's sort of, you don't need to, but I think we had ideas of maybe how we change, but we change everything. We get bored of everything every 2 years and then want to change every
definitely.
room. But anyway, so we come out of the bathroom and then we go into the guest bedroom.
Now, this guest bedroom was, I think we'd agree, a bit of a wild card.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, we wanted the experience for guests to sort of come in and sort of feel like a boutique hotel. We don't really have that many guests very often, but when they do, we want them to experience something nice. So we chose a really beautiful wallpaper. This room was actually in collaboration with Farrow & Ball. I worked with them on this space, but the wallpaper is a collaboration between Farrow & Ball and Chateau de Pernon, which is a French chateau being restored in France. It's a really lovely wallpaper that they originally uncovered in the press. So there's a bit of history there. It's now on our wall and just suits the space really well. It's quite cozy, quite encapsulating. We've then painted the paneling that we added in a dark brinjal colour. Again, Farrow & Ball. So this room just feels really boutique, really cozy, and you use it as your office. So it can be either a guest bedroom or an office.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, even though we'd maybe change, this is a room I think we change up every now and again, but I really do think it does. Whenever I'm on a business call and my camera's on, people are like, "Are you in a hotel?" And so I think you really did achieve what you set out to do, because everyone always assumes that I'm not working and I'm staying at some country resort.
Yeah.
But anyway, like all the rest of the house as well, I should say, bathroom and guest bedroom, we have the timber sash windows all the way throughout as well. But then it leads us into our main bedroom, which is a very large bedroom, very spacious. It looks out onto the front of the property. 2 windows, both wooden sash, so lets in, and it's south facing, so it is pounded with light all day long. Now with this room, we felt that a lot of the house was quite bright at this point, other than the lounge. And we felt like the downstairs had some moody colours, the kitchen, the lounge, but upstairs was very light. So we asked ourselves, given the room is south facing, we have the opportunity to go quite dark and to colour drench again. And you did.
We did. This colour is Invisible Green by Little Green. It's a really beautiful dark green colour. We actually finished it off in a matte finish. So again, it adds to that cosy sort of dark look to the room. It's very different to the colour in here. It might look similar on camera, but it's quite different. But this room, again, it just drenches the whole room. It feels like a perfect bedroom to sleep in my opinion.
100%.
As soon as you shut the curtains, it's dark.
Yeah, we've obviously continued the sisal carpet into the bedroom as well. I've always been a believer that bedrooms should be really cozy, so I've always loved carpet on the floor in bedrooms. So that's why we went there. And again, a sisal carpet, really durable, hard wearing, stunning design, and the color complements the wall colors that we've gone with as well.
Yeah.
Now, as you walk in, we built a custom-made wardrobe. So we used our carpenter who made a nice double door open wardrobe with storage for shoes and storage for your clothing. And on the side, we created one especially for jackets. And then we have the 3 drawers that are made for, you know, socks and underwear and things like this. But really large, bespoke made. And we managed to fit everything we have in there.
Yeah.
And it just sort of perfectly just blends into the wall. Doesn't feel like it's an obstacle or it stands out. It just really kind of beautifully is pretty subtle. Obviously, we've continued with the paneling. So in the bedrooms, we like the idea of high wall paneling. It's usually 3/4 of the way up behind the bed. So we've kept that with tradition. We've obviously put in a large ceiling rose as well. And of course, we put in my favorite chandelier of them all in the bedroom. We have a very large Super King bed. So it takes up a good chunk, but we've got plenty of space. Even with a massive Super King bed, we have space for the 2 marble side tables as well. So it gives you a sort of understanding of just how spacious this bedroom is.
Yeah, so it is a very decent 2-bedroom sized house, in my opinion. It's very, very spacious. So that is the end of the tour of our house.
Yeah, and look, sorry, I know many of you know this house and are got like probably, oh God, we're gonna hear about it again. But obviously this video, with respect, is not designed for you. We've sort of designed this video purposely for people who maybe are house hunting in London, who watch us and aren't aware that we were selling, and we wanted to just give you a better flavour if you may be interested. Sorry it has taken about 30 minutes of talking. I'm sure this will say commonly skipped section.
Yep.
But once again, if you are seriously interested in this house, it is going up at offers over 800,000, and we are popping an email in the description below. So again, if you are serious and you would like to inquire, you can pop an email there and one of us will come back to you. But I think that's it. And again, I think we just end on that sad note of like, everything's moving fast. We didn't even expect to make this video. It was just like, we should, do we have to? And here we are.
Yes, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit different, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment, leave a like, and again, if you're interested, I will leave that email link down below. But yeah, welcome to the channel if you're new. We will give you updates as and when we can.
Yes.
I am hoping by next week we can share something with you.
I don't think so.
No?
No. It's going to be one of those annoying things where I think it's just going to, we can't announce it until it's real. And there's still some hurdles to go through. So we'll have to think of something different next week.
But thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a lovely weekend and we shall see you next week for another video not about the house.
See you then.
Bye-bye.